Please return to your workstation. This awesome story is written by Crypticwander. So grab your coffee, sit back and enjoy the show.
Brandon Thompson, please return to your workstation. Brandon Thompson, please return to your workstation.
The intercom echoed. It was another Friday night, one that I wouldn't be able to enjoy since I had to work, although it wasn't the worst job I could have in the plant. I'm employed in a rather large company that makes medical equipment. There are about 14 production lines in the large concrete building that runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. My position is driving around on a riding forklift we refer to as a horse. I bring pallets of supplies that the lines need and to take finished pallets of product away. Pretty simple stuff, but 12 hours of it takes its toll on you, and at the night shift at that. Even after 2 years of doing the same thing, I'm lucky if I can manage a meagre 6 hours of sleep while the sun bleeds through my blackout curtains. Still, it pays well, much better than any other place in my small town. So unlike the rest of my co-workers, I plaster on that fake smile every shift and do my best to make it through to the next morning. Accidents would happen, of course. Usually never anything major, but once in a great while somebody would screw up so badly they had to make a safety video about them. It was a few months ago when Jerry, one of our mechanical engineers, was up on a ladder fixing a product jam on the ceiling conveyor. He had just about gotten it straightened out when his weight shifted wrong and the ladder came out from below him. This wouldn't have been so bad were it not for the wedding ring on his finger. It got caught between some metal and it came sliding off, along with the skin of his ring finger. Needless to say, production in the area came to a stop. Staff that were trained for medical emergencies came rushing over to the howling man and worked to try and stop some of the bleeding. There was a lot. Seeing the skin still hanging from the conveyor like a bloody used contraceptive, one of the staff propped up the ladder and made sure to grab it, as if it could be sewed back on. That was a pretty messy day for our little factory, and since then absolutely no jewellery was allowed on the floor. Instances like this were pretty rare though, and usually the worst would be a scrape or a slammed finger. Of course, we had to watch the new safety video and go through more computer training on the situation, but things were back to normal. I drove around on my horse, listening to the intercom call people back to their workstations. For me to bring various lines, certain products, or once in a while some joker who thought they were being funny played music from their phone on it. It was the last week that the next serious accident happened. Much worse than someone having the skin of their finger sloughed off. David from the parts department was in the process of lifting a pallet of motors up to his area on the second floor. They were planning on installing a few new lines in the near future, I think. I'm not sure. Anyway, Brandon Thompson was walking through the hall where David was and like an idiot decided to walk directly under the raised pallet. The motors themselves weren't properly wrapped, and when the forks hit the next level, the pallet bounced. I had the misfortune to witness the 100-pound motors come tumbling down. Some landed on the top of the cage of the lift, protecting David. Others slammed hard on top of Brandon, taking him down before he had a chance to yelp. I was stunned seeing this gruesome scene before me. Blood was splashed along the walls and floor like crimson ribbons. Pink brain oozed out from the torn in half skull. His limbs lay below the still crushing weight of the motors, pushed up in some sickening angles. Someone in the distance was screaming, and I wanted to yell at them to shut up. Then I realised it was me. There was a lot that happened at that point, but it was so fast I couldn't really make sense of it all. I'm pretty sure I disassociated as I looked on. People came running over, more people screamed. My throat was on fire from throwing up, and poor David slipped on some Brandon as he tried to get out of the forklift. Someone put their arm around mine and pulled me away towards the front offices. I was allowed to go home, but would have to write up an incident report in the next day or two. The whole thing messed me up pretty bad, but doing that seemed to help me out quite a bit. A week went by and some of us were able to return to work. Others, mostly good friends of Brandon, stayed home, still grieving from the loss. I didn't know Brandon that well, and I was thankful for that. Still, every time I see the now much clean spot of the floor where he died, I couldn't help but feel for the guy. Work went on pretty much as usual. Lines would need stuff brought to them, and finished pallets needed taken away. The intercom would spout off, telling people to return to their workstation, and the odd song would ring out. I was getting ready to go to my first break when I heard it.
Brandon Thompson, please return to your workstation. Brandon Thompson, please return to your workstation.
What the hell? I thought to myself. I put it out of my mind and made my way to the cafeteria when I heard it again.
Brandon Thompson, please return to your workstation. Brandon Thompson, please return to your workstation.
I saw David in the cafeteria and sat in the seat across from him. What's up with that? I asked. He chewed his sandwich thoughtfully before answering. It's just the last call. Kind of a way of honouring Brandon and stuff like that. It's a little weird, don't you think? Yeah, man. Wouldn't you want people to remember you after you died? I guess so. I didn't really think about it, to be honest. Well, best get used to it. We're probably going to be hearing that for the next week or so. And so it was. The entire night, different voices from across the plant called out for a co-worker that would never come. At least, I thought. Tonight had been a real cluster. No accidents, thank God, but part of me wishes it were that simple. The first half of the night I drove around doing my regular rounds, hearing people call out for our dead co-worker. It was before lunch when I heard the commotion. Down towards the new side of the building I drove. Footprints lead the way, brown and muddy. Some were dotted in strange gapes, some close, some far apart, like that of a drunken dancer. Ahead of me stood a large crowd, and I got off the horse. Making my way through, I saw something that made me sick for a second time. Standing in the ring of people was Brandon. One good leg seemed to hold most of the weight, as glistening white bones snapped through the crushed meat of the other. His arm dangled from what remained of sutures made by the mortuary, I would guess. What remained of his destroyed head and face stared at everyone in a glare of anger. With a mostly toothless mouth, he drew in a shaky, wet breath. This place is a bunch of bullshit. I can't even die without being called back into work. After saying this, the body simply slumped over, and he left us for a second time. and I hope you enjoy the blooper reel. And on the night shift at that. Usually, and the ladder came out. One of the staff. That was a pretty messy day for one. And since then, absolutely no. Of course, we had to wash the. Anyway, Brandon Thompson was walking through the hall where David was. Others slammed hard on top of the I was stunned seeing his pink brain oozed out from the torn. And poor David slipped on some unfinished pallets needed taking away. They were dotted in a strange gape, some close. Ahead of me stood a large crowd, and I got off the horse. Making my way through, I saw something that might. His arm dangled from what remained of suit. After saying this, hey family, please be so kind as to throw punch the like button and smack the ass of the subscription button as well. And remember to chokehold that notification bell and then select all. That way you'll receive all notifications each time I upload a new video. And by subscribing you'll be the first to see all of our new spooky creepypasta stories. A very big thank you to crypticwander for allowing me to narrate this awesome story. And why not hashtag Cryptids Roost in the comments. If you would like to support us and make a donation, I'd be very much appreciative. I do have PayPal and a Buy Me a Coffee account. I have a subreddit and our email if you would like to submit a story you've written that you would like me to narrate for you. You can also follow us. All my socials and all my other links are contained within the Linktree link below. And don't forget to check out the end screen, see above. That will also list some more videos in my back catalogue. All the links are below. Take care everyone, and I hope you all have a wonderful and peaceful night. And don't forget, where fear is, happiness is.